Hello class, day 5, this is page 15, and for the lesson today we're going to introduce, well we don't introduce because it's already been introduced, complementary and supplementary angles. Lesson objective is still going to be the same. I can find, actually, complementary and supplementary angles. Alright, so just as a quick review, complementary angles, okay, two angles that together equal 90 degrees, and supplementary angles, two angles that equal 180 degrees. Okay, so going to the next page, example number 1. So what's going to happen is you're going to have example number 1, measures of two supplementary angles. All right, and this is something that we haven't done this year. We've talked a lot about ratios, so let me just show you how easy this actually will be. Two supplementary angles. So whenever I'm solving supplementary angle or complementary angle problems, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label angles. We'll call one angle 1, we'll call one of them, the other one angle 2. Remember our let statements. Okay. Now, we don't know anything about these angles except for they are in a ratio of 2 to 3. So whenever we don't know what something is, we put an x with it. So we're going to call angle 1 2, but we're going to put an x with it. So 2 x's, and this one's going to be 3 x's. So how we solve this is you set up an equation, 2x plus 3x equals 180 degrees. Combine your x's, you get 5x equals 180. And when you divide by 5, I believe you're going to get 36. Pretty sure. Let me just check that though. 36. Okay, now what you found is you found x. This isn't the angle. So then what we have to do is we have to plug the x in. Angle 1 is 2 x's, or 2 36's, which would be 72. And then the other one is 3 36's, which would be 108. Right? And that's really how you set the problems up. Right? If you have a ratio, you just put x's with them. Right? Here's the other type of word problem that we'll be faced with. In a pair of complementary angles, immediately write 90 up above. The measure of the larger is 3 times that of the smaller. All right, so I'm going to have angle 1, angle 2. When it's set up this way, one of them is going to be x, and honestly, it really doesn't matter which one's which. So I'm going to make the first angle x. The second one is 3 times that, 3x. Okay, and then now it becomes the same as what we did up here, except we're going to do 90. So you got x, 1x plus 3x, just 4x, equals 90 degrees. Okay, divide 4. And you get 22.5. And then you have to plug them in. So angle 1 would be 22.5 because it's just one of the x's. And then angle 3 would be 3 times 22.5, which would be 77.5. Move this down so you can see what I did. All right, so what you're going to do at this time is you're going to go ahead and hit pause, and you're going to try the problems at the bottom of page 16 and the problem at the top of page 17. So these two problems here, check in to see if you did them correctly before we move on to the next example. So hit pause now. Okay, at this point, you should have done the problems up above and checked in to make sure that you're doing them correctly. All right, so the third example doesn't really deal with supplementary or complementary angles, but it's just more diagrams. And I want to kind of pinpoint something that shows up in this diagram that's a little bit different. So I'm going to actually zoom in close to this diagram. Essentially, we want to find x and y. All right, so if you notice, this arc goes past that line and goes all the way. So essentially the arc is going the whole way. So x is that whole angle. Okay, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to do 90 here, and you're going to put 90 there. Because if this is 90, then this has to be 90. All right? So working around from here, basically if you find all the angles, you're going to find what you're looking for. So here's what I know. I know this is 90 degrees. So 16 plus this angle equals 90. So if we just use some arithmetic here, 90 minus 16, 90 minus 16 would be 74 degrees. So this angle, so y equals, oops, I can zoom back out now a little bit, I guess. Y is going to be equal to 74 degrees. Okay? So now that I know this is 74 and I know this is 90, I now, in order to find x, I've got to find this angle here. So I know from here to there, it's 90. And I know that this is 74, so if I take 90 plus 74, I get 164. Okay, so if I take 180, move this over, minus 164, and you get 16 degrees. So this angle is 16 degrees, and so that means that x is going to be equal to the 90 degrees that go from here to there, okay, plus the 16 degrees that this angle here is. So we get 106. Right? So the rest of the problems that you're working on, you see, here's the answer key. You'll see this this little arc, and that y means it's this angle plus that angle. So, all right, so you're working on the independent practice, and check in with me as you're working. So this is Mr. Sims, signing off.